Okay, so I want to do a postcard today, but let's not do something from the book. Let's find our own pictures and then see if we could add our own effects. And also, I don't know if we should do a postcard because when's the last time you sent a postcard or received a postcard? I don't know if are postcards still a thing. If you look at examples, like they all look pretty old school. We'll do something else, something more modern. So instead of a postcard, I think maybe we should do something like a sweepstakes vacation entry, like the ones you'll see on what's that one website with all the Publishers Clearinghouse, I think PCH, not Pacific Coast Highway, the other one. Yeah, if you go here, like a lot of websites do these contests, sweepstakes, and a lot of them are vacations. Let's see what a couple of the designs look like so we get some inspiration. Win $10,000 for fun in the sun. Let's see if they have another picture of this. Or let's type vacation sweepstakes. See if a company has done any recently. Like, um, remember Omaze? They do all kinds of like sweepstakes, but let me see if they had any. Do they have like a list of them? I think now they're only in the UK, but I remember seeing ads for it before, but I guess they don't do it here in the US anymore. Here, recently closed. So I guess maybe we should keep it open. It's not only for a vacation. Maybe we'll do prizes too, like a car. That way you guys have more options. But here's one. Win a vacation in an overwater villa at the Intercontinental Bora Bora Resort. But I'm trying to find like a design. I mean, this one, pretty simple, just like four images and logo in the center. Here's one, just a box picture and the text on the right side with an enter now button. Feel free to look for some on your own right now. If you guys can come up, if you see a cool example, like this one looks nice. I mean, just a big picture with some text on it, but um, I think what we want to design is, I mean, we got to be a little bit more specific. What are we exactly doing? We want to do like a landing page. Maybe an ad pops up, you click the ad, and the ad takes you to this page that encourages you to enter the sweepstakes. So essentially, I think we should be designing what's called a lander. Website lander for sweepstakes. Let's see what they look like. There's some examples, I think. There's a quickly build sweepstakes landing pages. This is whatever convert flow, but I wonder if they have examples. Yeah, examples. Here's one. Okay, here's some nice ones. Something like this we need to design. Another website I would go to find some inspiration is Behance. You might already be familiar with it, but I like Behance because it shows you what tools people use to create their work, and they highlight some of the really cool looking ones. So we could search for, I guess, where's the search bar? Here we go. Sweepstakes. I mean, we could also, let's try postcards. I wonder, we should keep the postcard option on the table. If you feel like doing a postcard, you should still be able to do that. This is a very overdone concept. I mean, this whole big text with an image inside the text. I'll show you how to do that because it always comes up. I mean, if you look at postcards, there's gonna be like multiple with that same design. Like this one. Where did it go? Let's click here. Like this one, California, right? Big text and picture inside the letters. Everyone seems to be doing this. And it seems like a really old school kind of thing to do. So each letters, I guess, has like a different landmark in it in this case, but you could also do one big picture for all the letters. But I'll show you how to do that, but I don't know. I think we should be a little bit more original, not just. I don't want everyone doing this because it'll get boring fast. This is cool, but a bunch of different things cut out and like a little collage. I think yeah, this is a cool idea we could try. Like make things look like they're cut out. We could probably do this. Like add a little drop shadow underneath each image, add some texture, throw some text on top of it, make the text look a little worn out like these. I'm gonna keep this one open and leave this on the side, I guess, or maybe we could just copy the picture or save it. Although, how do I save the image? Oh, and it tells you here, whoever did this did it with tools, it says Photoshop. I wonder if they have a breakdown of how they did it. Like I said, Behance, they will show you like what tools they use, and this one I guess is just Photoshop. Oh, they have a series of them. It's not just one. A couple examples. I think this will be a really cool thing to try. Yep, tools, Photoshop. Yeah, let's keep this page open. I'm gonna link this. I'm gonna copy the link and send it to you guys in the chat so you guys can check it out too. So that's one option. This one's pretty simple and cool, but I don't know, Photoshop might be overkill for something like this. It's a little basic. Okay, let's switch back to the other idea. So postcard vacation. Let's do sweepstakes. See what kind of designs they have for sweepstakes. Oh, this came up again. Here we go. Win a vacation to Spain. There's more like what I want to see. Although, we're using Photoshop, but there are other tools out there that might be better suited for something like this because this is more like looks like a page from a magazine almost, right? Or something that gets mailed out to people. And for that type of media, I think software like Photoshop would be overkill and maybe not the best suited for it. Although you could do it in Photoshop, but I think something like Adobe InDesign would be better suited for this. So maybe not this sort of design. Let's look for something else. I guess we could do something like this, but it's going to be a mock-up of what the final thing will look like. So you're just going to be designing something, and then the web guy would have to build it for you, unless you got the skills to do it yourself. Here's a cool one. Come and say good day. Explore the best of Australia. You could also turn on this filter over here, and we could say for tools, let's look for Photoshop files. So whoever created something with Photoshop, that's what we want to see. Alright, so you could turn on the filter for Photoshop, and what does this button do? Just closes it. Here's a PCH sweepstakes designed in Photoshop. This one's for, it's not really a vacation though, it's more for prizes, money. Oh, here's a really cool one, but it's not really a vacation. It's more of a ad for buy drinks. For this, I don't know if you could do this in just Photoshop alone. Maybe you could. Let's see. Down, down, down. Let's see what they say at the bottom. Well, it says Tools Photoshop here, but yeah, Tools Photoshop. Maybe with the new AI generative things, but how would you get this done with Photoshop? That I don't know how you do this. Looks like 3D software was used for that one. Cool, but yeah, might be difficult for that one. Okay, something more basic. So why don't I give you guys a couple minutes? Uh, look for just explore Behance. Just see if you could find something interesting. If you find anything really cool, maybe share with us by pasting the link in our chat. Okay, and then I'm gonna mark whoever came in late. Let me just mark you present, and I'm gonna pause the recording. So everyone should have access to this too, Photoshop for web if you have the Creative Cloud. It's just a web browser version of Photoshop, and we got layers, we got layer effects, I got the paintbrush, of course. I haven't really explored Photoshop online because I just used this one obviously, but it seems to have a lot of the same tools, but you are gonna, I mean, it's not exactly the same, so it's gonna be missing some stuff. For the postcards, um, well, I'm not gonna expect you guys to submit Photoshop files because I don't know, it's just bigger file to download for me. So I don't know, that's a good question. Should we figure out how to share through here? Maybe share for review. I want to see what the um I want to see what it looks like. If I paste in this link in the chat and we click on it, maybe we should submit everything through here, share share for review. But it's still gonna be flat though. I'm not gonna be really able to see the layers, but I'm not too concerned about that honestly. I just want to see the end result. Maybe you could show a couple pieces of the original art that you used. Like if you're gonna submit something like this for the postcard, um, honestly, I'm fine with just that. I don't need to see the layers. But if you wanted to show us, you could create a separate. No, don't create a separate file. That seems unnecessary. Just upload to OneDrive or not OneDrive, Google Classroom, the separate images that you used. But for project submissions, I don't mind if you submit one of these links. You could do this by clicking share or just export a JPEG and upload it. So file export as, and then try to do JPEGs because PNG is going to be bigger file size. You can see here it's 1.4 megabytes if I did a PNG for this. But if I do a JPEG, it's 796 kilobytes, and I could probably lower the quality a little bit. It won't look much worse, but could significantly decrease the file size. So JPEG or click share and give me this link. Okay, alright, back to here. So, um, Jaden, I'll definitely add a little banner behind this and then see what doing a outline around everything will do. So your choices are postcard or sweepstakes. If you're gonna do a sweepstakes, I'm not gonna make you do like the whole like website form and all that. Don't do all that stuff. Just the main image, like this. Okay. So let's do one simple. This one seems easy, so I'll do this one first. I'm gonna keep this on the side. I'm gonna close the lesson file from the other day, and I'm gonna create a new file. So in this case, what I'm designing is gonna be, it's called a hero image. So on websites, the main content, the first thing you see on the top, usually called a hero. I don't know why. Um, but it's like a big main banner, main image, and looking at this, it's most likely gonna be 1920 pixels wide because it has to fit your screen from edge to edge, and your screen is typically 1920 pixels wide. It keeps popping in and out. So we'll do a 1920 pixel wide. I'm gonna disable artboards because I just hate artboards in Photoshop. I don't know why. Don't like using them. Um, okay, going back here. Okay, so this is the width is good, but it's a little bit too tall. But don't worry about the height too much. I could at the end when I'm ready to finalize this, maybe I'll crop from the top and the bottom. Make sure this is set to just ratio so I could do whatever I want with it. And I'll probably like make it a little bit shorter like that. Well, I'll keep the width at 1920, and yeah, we could also click here W by H by resolution. 1920 by like 992 is fine, or even 800. If I really want to copy this, I could just check what size it is by copying the image and then going to File, New. And you can see here in my clipboard it says 1920 by 2162. Oh, I think I copied the whole page, that's why. Yeah, I thought they separated this part from the rest of it, but it's all one big picture, so just that part is gonna be, looks like it's about, make this thing go away. So it's 1920 by 663, so we could say like 660 pixels tall for this sort of image. But again, there's no standard for that. It's that one happens to be that tall. I can make mine as tall as I want. I can leave it 1920 by 1080 if I want. Okay, so I don't care too much about the specific size. Okay, as long as it's usable for whatever purpose you're using it for. So if it's gonna be a postcard, if you're not doing a sweepstakes lander and you're doing a postcard, you should look up standard postcard sizes. Okay, standard postcard size in the US is 4 inches by 6 inches. 4 inches by 6 inches, meaning if you're gonna do a postcard, you're gonna want to set this to inches and set this to 4 by 6 or 6 by 4, it doesn't matter. You could switch it around if you want. You could click this button to switch the width and the height. So I'll go 4 by 6, and for the resolution, because it's print, we're looking at this in inches, you want your resolution to be like 250 minimum, but like 300, because if you make something 4 inches by 6 inches at 72 pixels per inch, that means for every inch there's only 72 pixels across. And if you print that, it's going to look really bad. But if you have 300 pixels for every inch, you're going to have a sharper image, and for print that's necessary. Okay, but when you're doing web stuff, it doesn't really matter. at the end you're just looking at the pixels. The whatever inches value you put doesn't really matter for web and digital media. It's what you see is what you get. But for print, you set the size to whatever inches it needs to be, and you set the resolution to 300. Unless it's a giant like banner, like the big signs that you see, like I don't know, real estate agent banner. You're gonna probably lower it to 150 in that case, because people will be looking at it from far away, so it doesn't need to be that high resolution. But for something that's gonna be held in your hand, like a postcard, you're gonna want 300 resolution. Okay, so postcard 4 by 6, 300 pixels per inch. At the end, that translates to 1200 by 1800 in actual pixels. The website hero image is going to be 1920 by 1080 or similar size. So that at the end they're almost the same. I mean, 1920 by 1080 versus 1200 by 1800, around the same size at the end. View actual pixels to see how big that actually is. Or sorry, actual size. Uh, Never mind. If you do actual size and this is for print, it's not really gonna zoom in to 100%. You gotta actually click view 100%. And then this one, view 100%. See, this is 100% zoomed in. They're both pretty big. Anyways, back to actually drawing this. Let's look at the example I was looking at. This one. So first thing you're gonna need is the background image. So nice vacation spot. Depending on where this sweepstakes is, you're gonna want a picture of that location. So I'm gonna go to pixels and we're gonna type vacation. Vacation. Cool. We'll make up a location. Doesn't have to be real, but lots of pictures we could use here. Like this one will work. This one will work. This one could work for, maybe this is better for the postcard because it's a little tall, not so wide. And you could also, if you go here, wait, we're still on pixels, right? Yeah. There should be a place to pick the aspect ratio for your images. Maybe not in pixels. Let's try another one. So if we go to Unsplash, similar website, look for vacation. Yeah, this one has the orientation. We could do landscape if we're looking for something for our hero image for the website sweepstakes image. We're gonna find wider images or landscape oriented images. Well, you gotta consider a few things. Don't just pick any nice looking image. Going back to this one, so there's some stuff on the left, some rocks and stuff, and then some trees here. We don't really know if anything's back there, but there's nothing really important behind the this the 4500 sweepstakes sign and dollars and whatever. You can't really see behind it, but you shouldn't really put anything that's gonna like don't put any major part of like if we're not gonna hide these chairs completely, we shouldn't use this image. And in this case, I mean, imagine a big thing over this. It might work, like you could say, oh, there's like a little umbrella over the text, but probably better if you find something like this instead, where there's really nothing going on in the center. Definitely don't pick something like this, because, yeah, it's gonna look weird. And then this one, if you do go with something like this, because the subject on this one is on the right side, you would put your text message on the left side, right? So you don't have to center things. Like this one happens to be centered, but if we're gonna use an image like this, we could bring this over to the left side a little bit. I like this one. But I feel like I would have to pick a specific theme for this. Like you're on vacation reading books. So it'll be some kind of scholastic sweepstakes. I don't know. I have to make stuff up. I'm gonna use this one because I like it. We could copy the image or download it. 1920 by 1280. That's fine. Just gonna drag this into my artboard here, the one I created for this. And I know my image is 1920 by 1280, so it's safe to stretch it all the way across to the edges. But if you don't want to guess, because sometimes, let's say I brought in a really low resolution image, maybe I bring in the 640 by 426 version. If I drop this in here and I stretch this all the way out to the edges, it's not going to be good because now it's like low res, looks very blurry. Okay, so you got to know what size the image is that you're bringing in so you know how far you could scale it. The one that's medium size, 1920 by 1080, which I don't need to be downloading so many times. Let's delete the other one. Okay, I'm bringing the medium size one again. So this one should be fine if I stretch it here. I zoom in, much clearer. But I like to do this if I want to know for sure. I'll bring in the image, but not drop it here. I'll drop it in a new tab. And then from here, I'll drag it into here. And then it'll bring it in like full size. Oops, I brought it to the wrong place. Meant to bring it to this one. And there's the actual size compared to my artboard. You could see the width should be exactly the same because my artboard is 1920 by 1080 and the image is 1920 by 1280. So the only thing different should be the height. This thing should be taller than my artboard. And then to center it, sometimes it doesn't really snap to the center. Although in this case, I guess it did because you can see the purple lines. That suggests that it's centered. But another way to center it is just drop it in there and then go to your layers. Select that layer with the new image and then shift select or control select the background. You should be able to center it from here. So on the top here, there will be align horizontal center and vertical center. Okay. So if you are trying to follow along, let me give you guys another like 3 minutes to find an image or use the same exact one if you want. If you want the same exact one, I'll put it in the chat. Okay, I'm gonna pause for like 3 minutes. Okay, so we got our picture, and I would like a little bit more space for my text here because I don't know. Let's say let's put in our message here, or should I copy paste from this one? Nah, let's type something up. So let's come up with a name for the sweepstakes. Enter to win. Enter to win. What are we winning? Probably a cash value. $5,000 plus vacation. I don't know. Let's just say Fiji or Bahamas vacation. All right. Now another topic comes up here. Do we put all our text in one text box or do we separate them? Depends how you're gonna style your text. The enter to win, I'd probably keep that together. The 5,000, I'll keep it together. And then the vacation in the probably separate the Bahamas. Make sure we separate the 5,000 as well. So I'm going to cut that out of there. Pressing Control X, by the way, if you want to know how to cut. And then making a new text box. Control V or Command V to paste. So we got our text laid out. Let me select all my text layers here by shift selecting this one and then shift selecting that one. Notice the text layers have the T. So I was thinking I might need some more room here. So this needs to be moved a little bit to the right. Now normally this would be a pain to do, but we live in the future where we have generative AI. So what I can do is, since I have some room on the top and the bottom, I might scale this down a little bit. Let's scale it down a little bit like this. Not too much. The less you scale it, the easier it'll be to fill in the left side. And Kelly's here. Let me mark you present. And since you're just joining us, we're working on the next assignment, which is kind of based on lesson 4, but the option for postcard is still there. You can still do a postcard, but I'm also giving you guys the option to do like a sweepstakes entry page banner like this one, just because postcards are kind of dead. Okay, so I scaled it down. I think this should be good. Gives me a little bit more room here for my content, my text, right? I don't want it all It's not good to have your text like really close to the edge, and also I don't want to make it really small, so I'm doing that. And then to fill in this left side, we're gonna select the rectangular marquee tool and just gonna select this area. You could also use, I guess, the magic wand to select the empty area over here. Although I feel like if I select exactly at that edge, I don't know, it should be fine. Let's see what the generative fill can do for us. We're just gonna generate without typing in any prompt. That way it should just figure out based on the rest of the image what to put there. I don't know if it'll take into consideration the other layers. Looks like it didn't. Looks like it's fine. And then don't forget you also have options. It should be here in the properties. Here's our variations. We got this one, we got that one, and we got that one. They all look pretty much the same. Either one works, honestly. The last one is kind of weird because it looks like, I don't know, it looks like there's a chair there, but not really. So I'll go with one of these. And this one's got like a random shadow there, but nothing is casting that shadow, so I'll go with this one. If you have an older version of Photoshop, you probably can't do that. So you'll have to figure out another way to extend your image. Um, Actually, let's hide this for a second and let's see what the other option is. In case you have an older version of Photoshop and no generative AI tool, you could also select that area and say edit fill. Let's make sure we got the right layer selected. So layer 1, edit fill or content aware fill. This is the old way that Photoshop would try to do things like this. Um, it might not look as good, but just click OK, see what happens. The green area, by the way, that's like the area that it's gonna sample. It's right now it's set to minus, but we gotta press Alt to add more to the sample area. So it's gonna look at all this green area to figure out what to fill in over there. I'm gonna cancel this because this might work better if we hide all the other layers and just have this one and then try to do it. So again, I'll do edit content aware fill. And yeah, we want to sample basically all of this. I don't know why it's selecting only a few areas, but we want all of this to be sampled. Maybe not the book. Maybe not this umbrella. And then based on what's in the green area, it's gonna try to figure out what to fill that area with. From the preview though, it doesn't look too good. Got this weird thing over here. So maybe we should remove the umbrella from the sample. At least it took that out, but now we got some weird line over here. Um, Maybe keep messing with it a little until it looks better. I'm gonna go ahead and click OK. I don't know what this line is, but we'll try to fix it after we do the fill. Yeah, so it did it. It's not as good, obviously. We have this thing here, but remember you also have some tools like the healing brush we could probably go over. Um, Although this generative fill that, sorry, not generative fill, the content aware fill that I just did, it added that on a new layer. In order to use the healing brush or the spot healing brush, you have to make sure we select sample all layers. So it looks at the bottom layer and the top layer before painting. Alright, and we're like missing the little edge of the umbrella. We'll have to manually use like the clone stamp to sample some of this and to just paint it here. Okay, there's some more areas here that maybe need some blending or more healing, spot healing. Maybe a bigger brush. Nope, that's fine. How about that? Okay, so for this part, looks like the beach is curving up. That's not good. So I'll use the clone stamp for this part. Sample, alt click this area and then bring it this way. Oh no, then it's too bright. So we just go further. This looks a little bit weird. Make our brush a little smaller, sample some of the sand. Let's try to erase that. That's fine. Also sample some this guy. This part that's like bugging me, there's like a contrast between the blue and the darker purple. I'll sample some of this and then just paint over that. You could also lower the opacity, sample that and paint over it to try to make it blend a little. Then that looks good. What's this? I don't know what happened there, but it's we could erase that since it's on a separate layer. Just erase that. I guess I can't erase it. It looks weird if I erase it. Let's go over it again with the clone stamp or the healing brush. See if that fixes it. Yeah, so it's tedious, it's annoying, but that's how you had to do things before. But if you have the generative AI tool, you could just select the area and do a fill, and it'll do it for you. And it didn't come out too bad. If you don't like it, you could always try it again. You're not stuck with the first three options. So you can select that and do generative fill again. Just click generate. And what do we have? Sometimes you'll get some weird artifacts, like I don't know what that is. Just decided to put that weird thing right there, but we won't pick that option. I'll go with which one looks the nicest? Let's go with this one. Right. And then bring my text back. So I hit all these layers, the text layers, bring that back. I'm not gonna leave it like this, obviously. I just put the text there so I can sort of see how much space I need for it. But we gotta figure out like a cool little background to put on it. And you also have the option to not put something. Like I wanted to put something like this banner or whatever badge, put that there. But if we decide to remove all this stuff over here, which we can do with generative fill again, this time on a separate layer, I could just get rid of that. Could also get rid of it with the clone stamp. I think just grab the ocean, sample that area, and just paint over it. Oh, you know what? The generative AI looked at my text and added text in the empty area. I don't want it to do that. Make sure you turn off the text. And then generative fill. I'm gonna remove it just to have the option, but I might just keep it there. And replaced it with a smaller umbrella. This one put a sign in the middle. Let's get rid of it again. There we go. Now we don't have it there. Move this thing out of the way because it's annoying. What's this? Okay, so the text is underneath the generative fill layers. These generative fill layers, okay, one of them, let me just show you what they look like on their own. So this is the original image without any of the generative fill. Then we have this generative fill to fill in that left side. We have this one to get rid of the original background, which again was this umbrella. This one got rid of it but replaced it with another one. Then I did another generative fill on top of that, which just painted some empty sky over it. So in the end, it's the empty sky over the the tiny umbrella over this one. And I'm just going to put the text on top of all that. Does it make sense? Any questions so far? Again, if you don't have the generative AI stuff, you can always clone stamp or use the content aware fill. So I did content aware. This is my content aware fill layer if I wanted to go with that instead of the generative AI. Right? They're both good. Right? If I want to get rid of the all of this stuff and I didn't have the AI tools, I could always use the clone stamp and maybe make a. Usually, when you're doing clone stamp, it's a good idea to create a brand new layer just for clone stamp painting. So that way, you could always hide your clone stamp brushes, brush strokes. So I made a new layer here called layer 2. Let's call this, what should we call it? Clone stamp. Just so we know that's what that's for. This one was content aware fill. These we already know they're generative fill because it says generative fill. But anyways, on this clone stamp layer, I could sample some of this by alt clicking it and then just line it up. See how it shows you inside your brush, it shows you what you're picking up actually. So I could bring it here, line it up with the ocean, and just oh, make sure the opacity is back to 100. I lowered it earlier, and we could just paint over this. You gotta realize though that it is sampling the entire image, so eventually it will start painting some of the other stuff from the image. So you're gonna have to resample. Like do a little area, pay attention to the crosshair on the right. That's where it's picking up from. So I can't really show you because if I let go of the mouse, it'll disappear. But there's a little plus sign right in the center of the image. That's where it's sampling from. So if I bring that plus sign to the glasses, you'll start seeing the glasses here. So pay attention to where that is. If it gets too close to something, you're gonna have to resample. So it could get annoying trying to do it this way. Constantly resampling, painting again. Constantly alt clicking to the right side and then painting over there. Same with down here. Sample some of the sand, bring it over, paint over that. And then you could also, select this area and just, we don't need to. I was gonna say blur it, but it doesn't look like we need to. You could also smudge it with the smudge tool if you wanna sort of blend it all a bit. Cool. So that's what I did without generative AI. It's still possible. It's just the generative AI just makes it a single click, easy thing you can do. Questions? Nope. Alright, let's focus on this here. This is the default font that came up. I'm not gonna stick with this font. It's not a very nice font for vacation in the Bahamas. And we don't want to make all the text the same size. We want to focus, what's the most important thing here? I would say 5,000 and Bahamas. So make them a little bit bigger than everything else. And then right now the font that I'm using looks like it's the font from the last lesson. I'm gonna go to my character panel. So let's go here to character or window and character. You could also click on the type tool and then it'll come up here. Basically, we need to change the font and we need to also change the letter spacing. So it's best to go directly to the character panel. This button here on the right will also bring up the character panel. So in the character panel, we want to set the tracking. That's the letter spacing basically, how far each letter is from each other. Let's put that back to 0. It's too far apart in that version. Looks better. And then let's also center all the text. Center it this way as well. So this will center objects or layers Align horizontal centers. But you could also align the text left, right, center. You're gonna have to do both if you just want to center these guys. Um, the plus is, I don't know. I don't want this to cause vacation in to be so far to the right. So what you could do is press the Alt button, and on your keyboard press the left arrow key to drag vacation a little bit to the left. But I shouldn't do this stuff now. All that, resizing the text, nudging it to the left, we probably shouldn't worry about that till we actually picked our font that we want to use. So like I said, I don't want to use this font, so gonna open the drop down here. We could filter what sort of font we want. Do we want a serif font? Serif means it's got the little decorations on the tips, like all of these fonts do. You know what I'm talking about? The little points at the tip of the letter. That's a serif font. There's a slab serif for like the this sort. Well, it's like more of a straight line serif. Sans serif means without serif, so more modern, clean-looking fonts. And we have script fonts. So if you're looking for some cursive writing or something a little more fancy looking, you got monospace, more for code. It's not really good for something like this. Monospace just means every letter takes up the same width. You got handwritten. Handwritten is gonna include all kinds of stuff. Doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna look handwritten. Black letter for more old school. And we got decorative. I'm just gonna leave it on all. Just wanna check out all my fonts. So definitely the sans serifs, these modern ones, probably go with any of those because can't go wrong with those. Um, or if I had a theme, if I had like a groovy 60s theme, I might do something like this, but I don't think it's appropriate for this sweepstakes. Um, so let's take a break, and then I'll figure out what font I want to use after the break. Also, it'll give you guys some time to catch up, right? So yeah, it's 8:05 already, so we should probably take a break. I'm gonna pause the recording. Okay, let's pick out a font now. So you know the type of fonts that you can filter through. I'm just gonna leave it on all. I don't want to leave anything out, and I'm gonna start from the top here. So the you can always install fonts on your computer, and you can use any Adobe font you have that's available. I mean, you could enable, you could go to more fonts, get more Adobe fonts that you don't have installed. But the thing is, you'll eventually have so many fonts that it'll just be overwhelming to um, look through all of them. So I mean, currently I've got all these fonts, and honestly, even though it's a lot, I still think like I'll still scroll through every single font that I have. And I tend to do that all the time. I tend to just scroll through every single font. So I try not to install too many new fonts. If if I have to get a new font, it has to be something I know for sure I'm gonna use often, or it's really nice. Otherwise, I'll try to avoid installing new fonts. Kind of like this font right here. It's a little thin though. Too bad there's no thick version of it or a bold version. So we'll move on. This one's cool too, but again, kind of thin. And you don't have to make all your text the same font, but also don't have like three different. Max like two fonts I would use. Like the example here. Enter to win the 4,500 sweepstakes for a dream vacation. I think this font and this one are the same. This one might be different, but could be a bold version of this font. Um, really, I'm only seeing like three fonts here that stand out. And this one even could be the same font as this, just has a little bit of a effect underneath it. But the is really the only one that's really different. And then, throughout the website, you're just gonna be using the same font usually. So I'm gonna just pick one main font and then maybe I'll pick a second font for the 5000 or the Bahamas, might be both of those using the same font. I wasn't kidding when I said I'm gonna scroll through every single font I have, so bear with me. If I do find one that I like, I just try to remember the name. That's not bad. It's called Cocon Pro. This cool. I think I like this. Coniferous. Funny thing is, I think I did an ad before. I did a sweepstakes homepage design before, and I ended up going with this coniferous font. It's funny because it just stands out to me for a Bahamas vacation or like Fiji or any type of island paradise. I feel like this coniferous font really matches. Even though I think it's meant for like Christmas theme or something, but I'm gonna go with this. Okay, so I would like to bring it down a little bit, but it fits more nicely up here. I guess no, we could keep it there, and then down here we could have a button, because we do need to have a button like enter now or something, right? I mean, this one doesn't have it, but I would like to add a button. It'll be part of the design. So for a button, we're gonna need to draw some shapes. And if we're gonna have like any sort of badge or background on the text, that would also require drawing a shape. And we could look at some examples before we jump in. This one just has this random shape here, but let's look at example badges or text backgrounds. So these are some examples. Shape like that one. Or here's some cool ones. For logos, you'll often see stuff like this. A lot of beer logos will have things like this. Or beer cans. Just some shape ideas here. Anyways, I think I don't have to do this. If I was gonna pick one, probably pick one of these. Little badge like that one. So if I was gonna do something like this one, let me open in a new tab. It's however many sides, not really important. This one happens to have one, two, three, four, five, six, and then it's got that ribbon across. If I want to do something like that, we have polygon tool in Photoshop. Polygon tool right now, if I draw it, it's got 5 sides, but we should be able to change the number of sides here somewhere. If we go to up here in the control panel, it says number 5. Let's change that to like 6 and press enter. Actually, I think you gotta pick the number of sides before you actually draw the shape because it's not changing. Let me delete it. Okay, I deleted the shape layer. I'm gonna draw it again, but this time from the beginning here, pick 6 sides. And instead of an outline, let's pick a fill. Whatever color you think matches. Maybe pick a color from here. So click the little color picker here. And then pick images, or pick a color from the image. Maybe this blue color from the book. Place that behind your text. And then try to fit the text within the shape. So enter to win and vacation in. I'm actually gonna rearrange this to make more sense to me. So on the top it's enter to win, so we'll put that on top. And vacation in. Then we have the 5,000. Then we have the Bahamas. That way it's kind of easier for me to figure out which one to click on. I'm trying to select the text layer because it's kind of hard control clicking the text if you have auto select on. Again, you might actually click the shape in the background instead of the text. So I would rather select it through here. Alright, so enter to win, vacation, Bahamas, make sure it's all centered again. I'm going to select enter to win and vacation in. And let's free transform, make it small enough to fit in here. Oh wait, sorry. Um, I messed up the order. The vacation in is supposed to be here. I don't know why I put it there. It's enter to win $5,000 plus vacation in Bahamas. Okay, and then since the Bahamas sticks out, we could put a little banner or a ribbon behind it so it extends out. Or we could maybe separate the and just put like the here. Just make it a bit smaller. And then this shape, I think we could make it a little bit bigger. Free transform. If you want to round the corners of your shape, there should be a option here somewhere. There it is. Okay, so this one, never mind. That's before you draw the shape. You gotta choose that. So if I increase that before I draw the shape, I'll get rounded corners on the shape. But since I already drew the shape, it's not too late to round it. You could just what do we have to use? If we select, I think the path selection tool. See how there's a little circle thing down here in the corner? If I grab that and pull it, I could round the corners however much I want. And again, it's really annoying selecting it through here, so I'll just click here. The vacation in. Um, in this case, it doesn't really fit that nicely in here. What if we do this? If we transform, rotate. I'm gonna hold shift and rotate it this way. I think that would work. It just needs a little bit of. We need another background, I think, on this. This one could be black or white. Or again, pick from the image. If you want that ribbon shape, you could try drawing it. It's like another rectangle. Oops. We'd have to draw another rectangle behind that rectangle and then cut out a triangle from it. You gotta rotate that triangle holding shift until it's facing that way. Bring it here. And then it's possible to cut out one shape from another. I think we'll have a whole lesson on this later. I think that will go over this. But if I select the triangle and the rectangle here, these two, should be able to cut one shape from the other one. How did we do that? We gotta go to, let's see, which tool would do it? I think we ought to click on the shape tool. Yeah, okay. Select the shape tool and then up here in the control panel, you're gonna see this here. So there's new layer, combine shape, subtract front shape. So I guess we gotta select the rectangle and then draw another rectangle, but select subtract front shape and just rotate it like that. Cool. Now we need a duplicate of this for the other side. I'll just copy it over like this, holding the Alt button, and we could just rotate it around or do a edit, transform, flip horizontal. And we should also um make them darker. And place them behind the other rectangle. So bring this rectangle and yeah, just drag that up. Oh, I dragged the wrong one. This one. It's a little hard to see. I shouldn't make it blue. Let's select all three of these. Let's pick a different color. Let's just go with like black and gray, or like a bright yellow, maybe. And then these two can be slightly darker yellow. There we go. Now it looks like a ribbon. Or just go find a picture of a ribbon on the internet and use it. You don't have to draw it. And since they're gonna be grouped together, they're always gonna move together. Um, First let me get these to the final position. I don't know if it should be right there, or deeper, or should be on top. I think like there is good, and then a final touch, maybe a line connecting from here to here, or like another triangle. This one can be darker. And on top of the other triangles. What am I trying to do here? Let's see. Alright, I guess I gotta can't use this triangle as it is. I gotta manipulate the corners. You can do that with the direct selection tool. So just grab this corner, move it there. Yes, that's fine. Move that one there. Move that one there. Do the same thing on the other side, but just flip it. Flip horizontal. There we go. Alright, and then probably make it a little bit smaller, the whole thing. So the 5,000, or not the 5,000, the enter the win, and all these triangles and rectangles. We group them all together. You can right click and then say, should be a group button. Group. New group from layers. Or new group. New group from layers. I don't know what the difference is. Yeah, if you do new group from layers, I guess it'll put all those layers in a group. Then I'll select that group and I'll say edit free transform. Okay, again, all this stuff that I just did, probably unnecessary. Don't do all that if you don't have to. Doesn't really look good anyway. I'd honestly prefer not to have any of this stuff. Just use the background of the picture itself. But I just wanted to show you how to do it. Uh, quick Google search, honestly. Ribbon. Ribbon. Yeah, I mean, you could just find a picture and just bring in the picture and use it. You get a nicer looking image too. So I wanted this one. I could just copy the image. Well, they want you to buy these images, so they've got watermarks and stuff on them. So maybe get it from Unsplash. If they have it. I don't know if they have these type of images. Not really. They don't really have it. It's more of like a Shutterstock Getty Images type of graphic. The ones you gotta usually pay for it. But they're so easy to make. Why would you ever pay for one? It'll be easier to make those types of things in Adobe Illustrator. Way easier in Illustrator, but I'm trying to make this all Photoshop, so did it here in Photoshop. Um, and if you want to change the color of the ribbon, you don't have to go in and pick each color individually and then change it. Since it's grouped together, maybe leave the enter to win outside of the group. Drag that out. So the group is just going to be the ribbon itself. You could try image, well, not image adjustments. It's not going to let you because it's a group and there are shape layers. So you could do a hue saturation adjustment layer on top of it and drag that. And this will affect everything, but if you go to layers and then remember what we did with the last lesson, we create a clipping mask. It points down on the layer below it or the group below it. That way it only affects what's below it. And then we could just play around and figure out if we can find a better color. I think pink works too. And since this is such a dark color, I could either make it brighter or make all this text, instead of black, change it to white. White definitely stands out better on that color background. And then the Bahamas, still a little too big for this shape, and I don't want to make it too small. So what can we do about that? I don't know if I should put another one of these guys. underneath probably wouldn't look good. See, it did that because I duplicated it. Let's just move this one down a little bit, put it above Bahamas. And then I'll have to do clipping mask one more time on this. And put that behind the Bahamas. But yeah, I'm not gonna do that because it looks weird. Two ribbons and yeah, it's not a good idea. Definitely not doing that. The enter the wind can stay. I'm gonna change the color actually. I don't like that color. I'm gonna get rid of well, let's see if we could do it with hue saturation. Just want to make it dark like that. And make this text white too. It doesn't look very centered to me, so I'm gonna just quickly center all these guys. I'm gonna select, leave the generative fill stuff alone, the clone stamp, layer 1, all that stuff, leave that alone. But the polygon, the text, the other shapes, we're gonna shift select all those layers. So select this one, shift click the top one. Now these guys are all selected. Just make sure they're centered. I think it would also look cool if this fold like went behind the blue shape, but I don't feel like doing that. I would have to take this and this out of the group. Also this one and this one. I have to remove them from the group. And the way I'm selecting them is control shift clicking them. So if you control shift click, you can select multiple layers or objects like that. So control click to select a layer, shift to add to the selection. Or you could turn on auto select and then shift select this one first, then that one, then that one, then that one. Okay, once those are all selected, I could drag them below the other polygon. Okay, now they're back to their original yellow color because the hue saturation only affects this one. I could either here, make this simpler. I'm going to delete the hue saturation adjustment layer, and let's just change the actual color of this thing. And right now it's the only one left in the group, so might as well ungroup it now. Don't need a group if I'm only gonna have one thing in it, so why group it? Okay, so just a rectangle, this rectangle, this one. Let's change them all to like a gray color. So this one, make it a dark gray. Oops, I had this one selected. Let's make that black. Make the other one. I'm guessing, yep, that's the other one. That one's also going to be black. This thing and this one. This one. This one. Make them like a dark gray. The rectangle on top can be lighter gray. There, I think that looks nicer because now it looks like tucks behind it. Cool. And for the Bahamas, we could do something to have it stick out more. And the 5,000, let's go to and notice when I was changing the color of this, I don't use my normal foreground background colors. You have to select the shape tool, like the rectangle tool, or you gotta select the path selection tool. One of these shape related tools so that it brings up the color picker in the control panel. And then with the text, same thing. If you select the text layer, like the $5,000, you don't change it from here. You gotta click on the type tool, or you gotta go to the character panel and change the color from there. So I think because it's money, we want it to be green, right? What shade of green? Maybe more yellow. It's gotta be bright though, because it's on a dark background. Or we could leave it white and instead, uh, let's see, can we make it bolder? If I had a bolder version of this font, that would be nice. But I don't know if. Oh yeah, it does. It's got light, regular, bold. Let's go with the bold. The Bahamas can also be bold. There's even a black which is even more bold. Maybe I'll do. Let's go with bold because I wanted there to be a clear difference between the the light and the bold. Right. Okay. So to avoid having to draw like another box behind Bahamas, let's see what it looks like if I did that. I don't know. I think don't think I want to do that. So let's delete that. Instead, I'll just try to make this all fit. So go to my layers, select 5000, make that a little bit smaller. Make the a little bit smaller. Bahamas, a little bit smaller. Bring it up till it fits. Yeah, I think that's good. And then here we could put a button, enter now. And that could just be a black rounded rectangle. We round the corners by dragging the little circle. Maybe round it all the way. And just type enter. I think that's fine. Okay. And figure out if you want to move it. So I'm trying to keep these together. There's the enter button. Let's group them together. My computer's getting a little slow because I got probably too many layers. Um, group. New group from layers. Call this button. Just place that there. If we have any more room to push these guys up a little, I should do that. Just so there's like even space between this part and this part. Just looks nicer. I don't know. One final, select all these and center. Cool. We take that away. That would work if we made it black. We could also try lowering the opacity. And then to make the 5000 stand out a little bit more, we could do layer effects like, let's see, drop shadow. We could probably put a drop shadow on all of them. Just make sure we use the same drop shadow on everything. So distance, angle, opacity. That helps the 5000 stand out. Copy that drop shadow by holding the Alt button, dragging it to Bahamas. Now 5000 and Bahamas stand out. feel like the also needs it, so maybe drag it to the. I think the needs to be a little bit bigger. Okay, and probably play around with the colors too. Right now I'm sticking with mostly black and white, but feel free to play with the colors. Oh, and this looks different. Since I made this transparent, now we're seeing through it. What if we also make this transparent, but let's also give this a stroke or something. We could align that to the inside. Cool. And then I'm gonna make. I still want this to be transparent, but I don't want this part to be transparent. So what I could do is make this 100%, so none of it is transparent. But there's an option in the layers. So if I select the polygon, it's got opacity, which affects the opacity of the whole layer, including the layer effects. Then it also has this fill. If I just lower the fill, it'll only lower the fill opacity and not the white outline. So the white stays solid, but the inside becomes transparent. I think that looks a lot nicer. And this annoying thing keeps popping up. Let's move it down. You want to get a nice preview of what it looks like? Go to screen mode, full screen, or actually we can just click this button down here in the tools panel. Go to full screen, click it a couple times. Get a nice look at it so you can see if you need to change anything. I don't like that plus vacation and is the only one that doesn't stand out so much, so I don't know, I might add a drop shadow to that or change the color of it, or at least pull it to the left a little bit. Pull it to the left and let's see what it looks like with the drop shadow. Again, copying, alt clicking and copying it. Yeah, sure. Let's might as well add that there. If I now I gotta figure out something else to make 5,000 and Bahamas stick out. I guess that would be changing the color. Oh, and we could also play with the fonts. I mean, right now I'm keeping it all the same font, but honestly, it might look better if I went with a simple modern sans serif font for vacation in and enter to win and this enter button. Maybe I should do that and not have a drop shadow on, oops, not that one, on the, well, the will keep the drop shadow, but vacation, get rid of the drop shadow. So I'm going to select vacation. I'm going to select, where's enter to win? There it is. So I'm control clicking to select vacation in, enter to win. Let's also select the word enter inside the button layer. So all three of these are selected, and we're just gonna switch the font to something basic like a sans serif. Now this is gonna be annoying because when I click this thing covers what I'm trying to look at, so maybe I'll do it from here. So I could do something like Poppins or Roboto. Roboto, medium, regular. Let's go with regular and then let's make it a lot smaller. Let's not change the color to black. I'll keep it white, and the enter needs to be smaller. This button can be smaller. Holding shift so it lets me transform the height and the width separate from each other. And I feel like I got too many enters here. Enter to win, enter. Let's change this to limited time. And Bahamas. I feel like we could do a different color for this too. Either the same green color here or more Bahama-y color, maybe a yellow. All that sounds good. Um, we still have time to play around with maybe adding some texture and stuff. See if that enhances this any, or if it's unnecessary. Like, let's see. If we want to add textures, you could go find a texture online and place it over a layer, change the blending mode, add the texture that way. Or you could go to your layers. Say I want to add a texture to this um, hexagon. I'll go to the polygon here and double click on it. There should be a gradient, no, not gradient, texture overlay or pattern or texture. Yeah, there's, well, no, bevel and emboss has texture option. Oh, yeah, I guess that works. We can do that. Bevel and emboss texture. Right now it's some jungle leaves, but it's not what I want. I want some grunge texture, and they don't really have that here. Although the water kind of looks cool. Doesn't really look like water. Or if I scale it down, maybe. Scale it down. Possibly change the blending mode if we can. Does it let us? So inner bevel, outer emboss, highlight mode. Anyways, I don't really like it, so cancel. Um, there's also, let's go try the other one. Going back to the layer styles, there's pattern overlay, but it's the same thing. We have the same pattern. So there's the water I was trying to apply earlier, but now instead of an embossing effect, it's actually just adding the texture. We could change the blending mode, make it look like water, which looks cool. I guess that's not bad. But again, not really what I was trying to do. What I really wanted to do is add an actual texture. Something like, I don't know, let's look for texture. There's got to be a good website for grabbing textures. Maybe textures.com. But no, this is more for like 3D modeling textures, like professional repeating patterns and stuff. I just want a grunge texture or like a paper texture or like a vintage paper texture or something. How about comic texture? Yeah, I think there's more like it. Okay, this effect that you see here, these dots, we could create that in Photoshop. We don't need to get a texture from there. I'll do a new Photoshop file for this one. So the filter that we're looking for, I think we need to have a gradient though for this to work. So let me just fill my screen with a gradient, maybe a radial gradient like this one. Actually, let's reverse it. So how do we reverse it? Reverse. There we go. So darker outside, lighter inside type of gradient. Then if you go to filter, pixelate, there's this color halftone, and the fill for this layer must be rasterized. Okay, because I was using the fancy new gradient layer. Since it's not a regular layer, you gotta either make it a smart object or just flatten it, which rasterize will do. I'll just rasterize. Okay, and then you pick numbers here. If I just leave it on the default, it's gonna look like this. It's gonna look like, wait, nothing happened. Let's try flattening this. Merge down, filter, pixelate, color halftone. There we go. I don't know why it wasn't working the first time. But this is what you get, these colorful dots. If you zoom out, it looks black, but it's actually different colors. If you want it to actually be all black, you could do filter, pixelate, color halftone. And remember, you gotta apply it to a gradient because that's how it determines the size of the circles. And then if you just put 0 for everything, click OK, you'll get dots, black dots. So it's basically this texture that you're looking at. That's how you could generate it in Photoshop, called a color halftone. There might even be a more direct way to do it. I feel like I think Photoshop added the effect. Let's see, filter. Where would the new stuff be? Maybe under neural filters. Neural filters is new too. It's kind of like where all the new AI stuff are gonna be. A lot of this is just AI. Restoration, zooming, style transfer. But never mind. It's the color halftone is probably the way to do it. So we'll just do it that way. And then I'll take that color halftone texture that I created. Just convert to normal layer. Just place it over this guy. Make sure it's over that polygon. So I added it. Where did I add it? That's way down here. Let's call this halftone. Drag it up above the polygon and alt click between them to create a clipping mask. Right? Or right click, create clipping mask. Make sure the color halftone, the polka dots is on top of the shape or whatever texture you want. Make sure it's above the shape layer before you create the clipping mask. Then select that pattern or texture and change the blending mode. Oh, that looks cool. I think this divide, it made the black white, so I think that looks good. And then you could let's try to zoom out. Select, deselect. I accidentally selected something. But yeah, you could move it around and scale it too. So if I do that, it's sort of just like on the outside. Or make it scale down. Cool. Just adding an effect to it. And I think I'm done with this version. Yeah, I'll be happy with that. So I will, but a lot of the later half of this wasn't pure Photoshop stuff. I mean, uh, designing something like this, probably do it in Illustrator and then just drop it in here in Photoshop. The exclusively for Photoshop stuff would be removing parts of the photo in the back and adding the extending the image. All that is a raster editing, so when you're messing with the actual pixels, that's what Photoshop was really designed for. Adding like these shapes and all that, it's not really specialized for that, but you could still do it in Photoshop. Any questions? I didn't have time to do the other one, but maybe next class. We created this postcard artboard. I never got to it. I was kind of looking forward to that because that one, where's the example that I had found? I think I messaged you guys in the chat the link, because I closed it, so I don't have it anymore. Let me open the chat. Talking about, not that one. Yeah, this one. This one was really cool. I wanted to try this, but probably a lot of work though. Lots of cutting out stuff, and you can see a lot of textures added on top of it. So you see this texture, the black dots and everything, that is probably added the same way I added this texture, just a different image, or maybe they generated a different way. Hopefully we can get back to that because it looks really fun to try. Okay, I'm gonna end the lecture here. So rest of class is for asking questions and trying these out. What would be a cool title for this? Maybe add something here. Gonna ask ChatGPT. Okay, read and retreat. Paradise pages. Book your escape. Well, that's a good one. Then how do we make that stand out? We can make that a gradient. Um, I keep thinking I'm done, but we have like 10 minutes, so might as well add little final touches to this. Let's add a layer. Well, we could just, we don't need to do that. We could just probably fill it with the gradient. a gradient that goes from white to white, but transparent on one side. Oh, and make sure it's going this way. Maybe extend it a little bit this way. There we go. Book your escape. Put that a little bit higher. Or how about the yeah, let's do this. Put it like right here. Make the white rectangle a little bit taller. And then select the glasses. So let's select the background layer. I'm gonna alt click to hide everything else for a second. And let's use the normally I would use the pen tool and I'll trace the glasses nicely to select them. But to save some time, I'm gonna use the object selection tool. Selecting the glasses. Okay, alt click the eye again to bring everything else back. And then we're gonna go to this white bar layer. I forgot where it was though. Was it supposed to be behind this shape? So is it this rectangle? Nope. Is it this one? No, it's probably this one. Yeah. So this rectangle, I'm gonna create a layer mask behind it. I'll say layer new layer mask. The reason why I'm going here instead of clicking the layer mask button is because if I click this, it's gonna hide everything except the selected area. So just to create a layer mask without doing anything with my selection, I'll go to layer mask and reveal all. That way it just adds a plain white layer mask, and then the part that's selected, I'm gonna click the layer mask and just paint that black to erase it. So it looks like the glasses are in front of the white. So it looks a little cooler. So book your escape. Glasses are in front of the white. The black text can probably be blue or this color. I'll go with blue. Cool. And we'll save this one on documents. Call this sweepstakes, or let's call it book your escape. .psd. Alright, so if you're gonna submit this, you would do a file export as. Make sure you do JPEG, otherwise it's gonna be unnecessarily large file size because PNGs don't really compress. Even the JPEG's kind of big here at 1.2 megabytes. Should yeah, let's lower the quality to like 70%. I don't know why it's so big. (1920 by 1080) image should not be over a megabyte for just a regular HD picture. Let's bring it to 60%. It's not gonna look much worse, honestly. If we export this, even at 60%, let's see what it looks like. Doesn't look bad. The It's not always necessary to do 100% quality, especially if it's going to be something that is going to be used on a website. You want to keep your file sizes down, right? There's also a new format called WebP. If you do save as, I'm gonna have to do save a copy actually because there's layers. So if you do save a copy, you'll get another window, and at the very bottom you'll see WebP. WebP is a new image format that's a little bit better optimized. So if I save this on the desktop, we get to again pick the compression. We could do lossless if we want to keep the full quality, or lossy if we just want to do high quality, but just do a little bit of compression to make the file size smaller. WebP is here. See, it's also good quality, but the file size should be 112 kilobytes versus the JPEG, which was 321 kilobytes. So a lot smaller file size, but same quality. Alright, one's JPEG, one's WebP. It looks exactly the same. Let's zoom into 800% and really take a close look at it. It's identical, but this is a much smaller file size. That is all. Let me post the sign out for you guys and stop recording.